Alright, I don't have a lot of time. You guys know how it is, man. I gotta get to work. But however, just want to take a quick little moment to introduce my friend. Her name is Sumari. If you have me on Facebook, you already know her details. She comes from Africa. She's a royal python, also known as Python Regis. Um, and in certain parts of Africa, like in Benin, there is a temple called the Temple of Python. And in that part of Africa and many other parts, the python is revered and worshipped and respected. I just wanted to come on real quick because I got a lot of questions about serpents in the Garden of Eden and the devil and all this nonsense. This, well, I think most snakes in general, they all have a kind of bad name. I guess it's quite natural to, if you grew up in one of these Christian type backgrounds. I mean, we've all heard stories of the evil serpent in the Garden of Eden tempting Eve, which doesn't really make a lot of sense actually. I mean, a snake talking to someone sounds, well, I don't know. I'm open to all possibilities, and anything is possible. But this queen right here doesn't have an inch of evilness in her at all. That's right. Very calm. Get a little closer. Go ahead, baby. Let everybody out there in the YouTube universe. Oh no, where's your head at? Oh, there it is. Yeah, there she goes. There she goes. All right. Anyway, I'll just keep talking and hold her around here. So, as I was saying, a lot of people, they're like, well, why do serpents get such a bad name? Well, what a lot of people don't know is that at a certain point in history, this is going back now, like thousands of years, possibly millions, the serpent used to be seen as a symbol of male and female, well, it was male and female symbolism, basically. When our ancestors seen serpents coming out of the ground, well, for one, it represented the female as coming out of the womb and coming out of the earth, and it represented the male as a phallic symbol. You know what phallic means? It means a penis. Throw up, people. That's what it is. So yeah, it represents both the female womb and the male phallic symbolism of the penis. So when people saw that, a lot of the serpent is connected to an ancient wisdom, an ancient past. So when people saw these snakes coming out the ground, coming out of holes, they saw them as having secret knowledge that no one else knew. If you want to talk about getting down to earth, and you can't get any more down to earth than with a snake, because a snake is always on its belly. I have to really respect, and I think a lot of us, we have to really respect these amazing animals. They're not even animals, they're like entities. I mean, we're all entities here in this plane, right? So we have to think about that the serpent is actually a type of consciousness that has decided also to manifest itself within this reality. I respect them so much because, people are terrified of snakes. A lot of people have, maybe they had a bad experience and that connects to it. But one of the main things is like coming from biblical stories. So why I respect the snake is, for one, it has no arms or legs. I mean, these things, people are terrified of them. There's so many other animals to be afraid of, which we shouldn't be afraid of any of them, but there are many other animals that have teeth, claws, fangs, poison, all type of ideas that are part of their genetic makeup. With the snake, I mean, really, it only has a head that you need to worry about. Some do have poison. This particular snake is a constrictor snake. What that means is when it eats its food, it basically bites it and then wraps around and constricts it, squeezes the air out of it until it dies, and then proceeds to swallow it. Oh, she's very, I'm trying to get this camera, she's very attentive right now. She must know that I'm discussing her. Sorry, this camera's a little weird. But anyway, so, yeah, in Benin, and I believe it's pronounced Ouida in Africa, they have a temple of Python, and basically when the people, a lot of tourists go there, to check this out. In their village, when a python wanders into their home, they don't freak out. They basically just put it back outside. or they return it to the temple. And for those of us, for the other ones, like if they make a mistake and kill one in the road, they'll actually have like a little, ceremony for it and make a little, yeah, a funeral. So I've never had a snake before. This is my first time. Why did I get a snake? Well, you guys know me, like everything, came to me in a vision for quite some time. And at some point, I was led to a certain location that she was waiting for me in. And that's how she ended up becoming a part of my family. Hold on, let me just try to fix this computer. You guys know what's up, man. But anyway, so she's very calm. This particular species of consciousness is not very violent. This has to be the most docile snake ever. If you want to talk about calmness, I mean, it doesn't get any more calm than her. She's so calm, sometimes I got to make sure she's still in his reality and she hasn't checked out early. But yeah, also as far as when it comes to snakes, I believe this particular species of consciousness actually lives the longest. That's right. This particular type of consciousness can remain in this reality for 20, well, it could go up to 50. They have some recorders going up to 50 years. Minimum might be 30 to 40, but who knows, right? I mean, you could check out today. For all I know, when I go to work, she might say, hey, fuck it, I'm tired of this place. I want to move on to another reality. So we have a kind of agreement. Basically, as long as she sticks around here with me, I will provide for her. I will take care of her, feed her, and do what I have to do. And she will provide me with her energy. And basically, when you have something like this in your, I don't want to say possession because I don't own her, and she doesn't own me. When you have a connection like this with certain types of animals, it brings you back to an ancient time, and I mentioned this on Facebook briefly. It's an ancient time and ancient power that we all possess. Serpent worship, snake worship is actually one of the oldest religions in the world. They did find a temple. I don't remember the exact details now, but they did find a temple somewhere. I don't know if it was in Africa or Australia, but I believe it was in Africa. It had a stone statue of a python. So serpent worship is actually the oldest religion, if you want to call it that, a worshiping system in the world. Right, so trying to keep focused because I got to get out of here and get to work, but I just wanted to take the time to introduce this to you, introduce her to all of you. The thing that makes me sad is that you have a lot of, it's really interesting how we try to commercialize everything. I mean, fuck, man, even pets. For me, this is a normal python. When I went to the store that she was in, they had all these other types, and I didn't know anything about pythons. I mean, I did my research, but they have all these types, they call them morphs, and it's like, what the fuck is a morph, man? It's like, basically what a morph is they breed different pythons together to try to get a different pattern. You can see her pattern here, just give you a close-up. I mean, for me, I just wanted a normal python as how the vision that they're supposed to be originally in this reality. But these people, man, I mean, I'm not knocking them, do what you want, but they went into, how do I say this? No one's really going into it as far as the ancient aspects of serpents and pythons and all types of snakes. These morphs, and you can look that up online, it's called a morph, M-O-R-P-H. I mean, they have these fucking silly names, man. It's like spider python, clown python, radical cowboy, zero space, continuum python, and all this shit, man. So I'm like, when I went to the shop, I'm asking a question. The guy's basically like, well, what kind of python do you want? And I'm like, well, I do want a python. I know the different species, but what do you mean? He's like, what do you want, a spider python, a clown python, fucking rodeo show python? And I'm like, what are you talking about, man? I want a normal python that, I gave him the research that I went into and stuff, man. And basically he was talking about the color. And I'm like, damn, man, they've even fucking marketing. I mean, talk about, oh, man. I'm in a hurry, so I can't get into this deeply, but everything has a fucking price, man. So basically, yeah, this particular type, she had no value. That's what I'm trying to make. The point of the story is because of her. I mean, this is what pythons natively look like, right? And I put a video up on my Facebook page. You can see me, well, not me, someone else going into. They went to the Temple of Python in Africa, and if you look at all the pythons in the temple, you don't see anywhere any crazy colors and no spider pie, spider net, fucking Spider Man, whatever you want to call it, pythons running around. They all look pretty much like this. So all these other pythons in this shop, they were running like $500, $1,000, you know, all this. I'm like, what the hell is going on here, man? And then in this little case, they had this baby, right? They had you sitting over there in the corner. Nobody wanted you. I'm like, well, what's up with her? Why is she all alone? They're like, oh no, she's just a regular python. Nobody wants her. So you know me. I'm always one for the outcasts. I'm like, well, nobody wants her. What do you mean nobody wants her? Well, she's not a special type of python, or her pattern is just too simple. And I'm like, well, I guess that's the one that I'm going to get. Because, number one, nobody cared about her. Nobody wanted her. Right? And all because she didn't have a Spider-Man, Iron Man, fucking Batman pattern on her body, she had no value. But anyway, so, alright, moving along to something else. I really gotta get out of here, guys. I gotta get to work. I got like a few minutes. I gotta iron my shirt and all this other fucking stuff. But anyway, religion, right? A lot of people have been hitting me up, man, with this religious stuff. A lot of people coming from religious backgrounds. And the biggest problem is people are like, well, what can I do? I'm coming from a background. My family's a Christian. Nobody believes me when I'm talking about these experiences. Look, I've been through this in many videos, and I'm sorry if I can't respond to everybody's comments out there because I get a lot of comments coming in. I talk to a lot of people, and then I got my own stuff going on over here in Japan, right? But don't worry about these people, man. I mean, I've said it many times. Like, I don't know how many other ways to say it, but if your family is still, I mean, respect your family. Your family's your family, but don't worry about trying to convince them of what's going on in your own subjective experiences, man. It should be enough. If you know you're traveling, you're going through the other realms of reality throughout this illusionary system of space and time, that's enough for you. Prove through your actions, you know. Like me, I stopped preaching a long time ago. I don't get into, I mean, I make these videos, but pretty much I don't really go into like trying to convince people anymore. I state my truth. When we get into conversation, I say, well, this is how it is for me. And I never deviate from it. So when people go into, yeah, well, you know, quantum physics said this, and, you know, there's no this and that, I say, well, that's cool, but from my experience, this is how it is, and this is what I've been experiencing. And if you keep doing that, at some point, people will either believe you or not, but at some point they might say, well, damn, man, this guy, he's changing. He's always talking about the same thing. Perhaps there's something to what he's talking about. So, yeah, don't get into trying to battle with your family or friends. And I know when you get into this information, it gets really exciting. You want to share it with the world, but a lot of people are just not on that level yet. So you got to just do you. Do what you have to do. Let me see, is there anything else? Okay, really quickly, someone asked me, why don't I make a video about my own psychedelic or drug experiences in case I've had any? Okay, that's a good question. I mean, I mentioned drugs a long time ago. The real purpose of drugs was basically for the real rigid, scientific-minded person who can't really break through. Sometimes they might need that extra boost to rip open their consciousness to show them that there's all types of other life around us in the universe. I don't really get into drugs too much to talk about it because I don't want to promote that. To each his own. I know some people do get into that, and they do have things that can be taken in a controlled situation, ayahuasca, things like that, and that's all good. I don't get into it because I don't want people to become dependent on it. If I kick off videos talking about the joys of LSD and DMT and all these other things, it would take away from the true message what I'm trying to get to, and that's people being able to access these realms of reality without taking any type of pharmaceutical or illegal drugs. Now, if you live in a place where drugs are legal and you can take them without being dependent on it, then go ahead, have a good time. There are places like that. If you go to places like Amsterdam, you know, they have legal marijuana, things like that. I know people are going to say marijuana is not a psychedelic, but a lot of people don't even know the true use of marijuana, how to use it. That can be used to access other realms of reality. If you already have the abilities to go deep within your consciousness, you can use that as a type of fucking, I was going to say something. Just like a boost, you know, to get you into these other realms or go deeper. There's infinite realities. Reality is infinite. Space and time doesn't exist. So we have an infinite realm of realities, possibilities, probabilities to get into. You never find all of them. I mean, there's always going to be something new. So when people take these things, they think that, oh, okay, I took this drug, you know, and I broke through, and I saw all these interesting things. And I'm sorry, babe, I'm getting a hold of it. You know, I broke through, and I saw these interesting things, and you know, met these entities, and they get stuck on that, and they don't really go beyond that. But basically, if you did take them, you could use them to access new realms of reality and other doors that can be opened. But I would advise anyone to, as much as possible, try to break through without doing that stuff. One thing I can say, though, about psychedelics and all these other type of things is that for people who have taken them, if you've taken them already, these states of consciousness that I'm talking about should be easier for you to access through because you already have a frame of reference of what's going on. Now, I'm not saying that people who haven't taken drugs cannot access these realms of reality, but pretty much, if you have taken them, you have a reference point of what to expect in altered states of consciousness. Now, there are many people who have accessed these realms without doing drugs, and that's great. And that's what they should be doing. But if you've already done them, you should have a much better chance of getting what I'm talking about. For people who are just closed-minded, they're very scientific-minded and really well-grounded here in physical reality, they might need that extra push because we've seen through historical accounts of many scientists and people who have taken drugs like LSD, DMT, who are very scientific-minded, trapped in this reality. They've taken these things and created things like the double helix. I believe Crick's made that, DNA double helix, and all type of other discoveries through the use of psychedelic drugs, which basically ripped open their consciousness and revealed the other side of the door to them. But yeah, that's it, man. I gotta get the fuck out of here. Gotta go. But subscribe if you like what you see. If you come across this video, you're on the weird side of YouTube again, another dimension. This is Seth, Sumari Dark Arts, the only place you're going to get any sense of kind of true, I don't want to say true, but a better sample of spirituality, consciousness expanding, and things like that. I try to keep it as real as possible. I know a lot of things I talk about don't sound real, but you know it's real, right? She knows it's real, and we have our own journeys together. Our own little magical trips that we take together. But yeah, that's all I gotta say for now. I gotta get out of here. So I guess in this video I touched on you. Oh, I scared you. Don't get scared, baby. I touched on Sumari over here and the religious ignorances and misinformation on serpents. And I couldn't go into a lot of detail about other things. I might make another video and get more in depth on a lot of other subjects. But this is basically just a video out there for my brothers and sisters who haven't seen me in a while. I'm still alive. I'm still here in this reality. I haven't left yet. And as you see, I've been a little occupied with my queen over here. But yeah, I'll be making another video soon. I really want to try to get on point and like just make videos continuously, one after the other, daily. That's like the goal, what I wish I want to do. Not wish, because I create my own reality, but that's what I would like to do. Just been a little occupied at the moment with a lot of other things. But yeah, I got a lot of stories to share with you guys, man. There's been a lot of action going on in other realms of reality. And things that I have to tell you guys, but it'll have to wait for now. So until we meet again, and it will be soon, I promise. Um, yeah, keep strong, keep practicing, and yeah, you know how it is. Peace, love, and harmony as always. And I got a lot of things to talk to you guys about. But for now, this is all I'm gonna have to say. Alright everyone, say goodbye to Sumari over here. Looks like she's getting tired. She's ready to get back in her little hide box and chill out for the rest of the day while I go away, right? Right, babe? Alright, gotta get out of here. Later.